Welcome back to Gamer Muscle videos. In this video we're going to be jumping into AeroFly 2 to check out the latest beta update of the VR support. Now it's worth pointing out before we get going, AeroFly 2 is in early access, the VR support is very much beta, and the game itself, or the simulator itself, is also very much still in beta. Now if you want an introduction to AeroFly, check out our previous video where we're playing it on a screen and give our first impressions. But what this video is about is jumping in with the Rift and giving it a bit of a bash. Now we did try it with the Vive, but the Vive support at this point in time is even worse than the Rift support. It loads up onto the screen, but the head tracking's a bit off, the seat position and stuff is a bit off, and it'll just make you feel sick straight away. On the Rift, you can get it working, and the head tracking seems a bit better, less delayed, but asynchronous time warp isn't working. Regardless, we're gonna soldier on through and try and pilot this biplane, which has a suspicious engine sound. It sounds somewhat like a two-stroke motorbike, which doesn't give me that much confidence. We've got a little fan that looks like if you accidentally were to lean your face into it, it would slice your neck off. Safety, clearly not a priority here. The wooden beam supporting the wings with small metal wires holding everything together. As I say, safety clearly not important, but you know, it's designed to fly. A flap seems to be working, and we're seated and ready. Nice little wooden finish here. There's our yoke, and we are flying with the Rhino, the X55 Rhino joystick, HOTAS joystick, so it should be authentic, although this plane was built before plastic was invented, it would seem, as we got nice copper dials. Let's throttle up. There goes the engine, a bit of splutter. Oh dear. Whoa, I'm going to pull back a tiny bit. We'll try and be really gentle here. Leaning up over the nose. Whoa, we're airborne straight away. Oh my god, you don't need much airspeed to get this going. And this is taken off like a paper aeroplane. Let's just give it full power and let's avoid our neck getting cut off. We're in the air and it feels fantastic. Now the big difference between obviously playing this in VR and the screen is, and you notice it going between them because it literally just went from playing on a screen, is the VR just places you in the game straight away, as those of you know that play VR, but the scale is perfect. When you play stuff on a screen, especially flying games, the scale always seems off. It's always some weird abstraction, unless you are blessed with a projector setup or some crazy multi-screen setup. But with VR, you stick your headset on and everything feels very natural. And we're now quite high above the ground. Now, what's really cool with AeroFly 2, and we sort of covered this in our previous video, is that because it doesn't have, say, all the features that you find in Flight Sim X or X-Plane 10, the developers pretty much focused on the flight dynamics and of the terrain they've got, which at the moment they've got Southeast America and Switzerland that's available as a DLC, but of the terrain they've got, the resolution and fidelity of the terrain is incredible and looks fantastic with the shaders and how it's rendered and the lighting. It looks gorgeous, and compared to X-Plane 10 and Flight Sim X, another thing I really noticed is even more apparent in VR is the things like the trees and the buildings. The buildings that are 3D modelled look really solid, they don't pop in at all, and the trees, again, there's a lot of trees and none of them tend to pop in or anything. So in terms of visual crispness and sort of believability to the end result, this is one of the better looking sims. But of course, the most important part is how stuff flies. And again, I think from the limited time, we spent about 2-3 hours playing this now, from the limited time flying around in this, I definitely think the flight dynamics, especially with the slower planes, just feel completely natural. It really does feel like you're riding on air, you're floating in the air, and the way the planes respond, move around, the subtle movements, it just feels fantastic. Now we're not just going to fly nice and steady, no, we're going to try some aerobatics. We're getting a little bit of stutter and slow down. As I say, asynchronous time warp would be really handy, and it definitely really does help with flight simulators. We've got the graphics on full though, so that's not helping, but let's let's do some aerobatics. Why not? There's a look at the wings flexing as well, because the sim does have full wing flex simulation. But you look at this, when I nudge the controller like a lunatic, just the way it's causing the plane to sort of shuffle around. But there's a little bit of cushion there, as you'd expect as the air gets impacted and moved out of the way. It's really, really well done. Let's nose down. Whoa, dear, we're going. That's crazy. The shadows there look fantastic in the cockpit. Let's do a bit of a loop-the-loop. Shadows really nice and crisp in the cockpit. There she goes, all the way around. That's not quite a clean loop-the-loop. Whoa, a little bit of a stall. The lights and the shadows dart around. Really, really nice. Who thought it would be a good idea to put a ridiculously sharp fan right next to your face? Health and safety. In VR, you just feel like that's going to cut your head off. On a screen, you can sort of ignore it. Let's go back down. See, these buildings here aren't modelled, but you can see they've done a really good job with the sort of satellite imagery. It's almost photoreal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and land this here, and then we're gonna go to the city. Let's try and do a bit of a tight landing. We've got all the dials. Most of them function. I don't think. Oh, there's my granddad, Sir Boris of Dewsbury. You know, very dapper chap. We're going to try and do a good landing here. Where's the runway? Oh, there it is to the right. Okay. It's a nice thing with these old planes. You can just lean out the cockpit to work out where you are. Some of the modern planes and fighter jets, you can't see anything. You're just flying by the computers and the instrumentation. Let's go down. Oh, let's sort of flop into this. Oh, sort of cushioned by the air a bit. There's the shadow. Don't need to worry about landing gear. This plane always has the wheels down. Oh, flopping around a little bit. We've got the weather on nice and calm. It'll be interesting to see what this flies like if we put the weather on completely insanity mode. I still got to try the glider in this, because it's normally really fun to play in games that have more dynamic flight models like X-Plane 10. So the glider should be fantastic. Whoa! Not the smoothest of landings. 1, 2, 3. And off with the power, back to the two-stroke motorbike engine mode. Let's do a little bit of a drift. Okay, we've got no. Oh, there it is. Oh, that's how you land the plane. Let's go to the city centre. Absolutely superb. Again, as I say, the scale, all the dials, everything modelled. A lot of the dials work. In VR, you don't seem to be able to access them at the moment. As I say, early access, I'm sure they'll think of ways that you can twiddle with stuff. Of course, you can bind them to your controllers. On the 2D screen, when you're playing in 2D, you can use your mouse wheel to move dials up and down. But look at all the details. And with the consumer Rift now and the resolution of the Vive, you can, of course, actually read the dials. Especially if you're in a slower plane like this Cessna, you can sort of take your time, look forwards, and actually see the details on the dials and read them. Whereas obviously with the TK2 days, it was like being a blind person, or sort of a 90-year-old in a plane. Now look at this city. All the buildings, and this is the real difference visually with AeroFly 2 compared to the other simulators. I mean, just look at the amount of objects on the screen. It's absolutely ridiculous. All the buildings modelled, well, not all of them, but a good number of them, and enough to make it feel really solid and just has a really big visual impact. Let's fly between the buildings, of course. That's what you've got to do. A little bit of parkland between those, I was going to say houses, obviously not houses, they're like office blocks. Probably going to fly past someone's window here. Try not to reenact some of the accidents that have occurred over history. Look at that. I mean, when you do this on a screen, it's exciting because obviously you're trying to avoid crashing into stuff. But when you do it in VR, it's exciting because you don't want to die. There's part of your brain that thinks, hang on a minute, this might be real. And then there's the other part of your brain that thinks, no, it's not real, it's virtual reality. There's a sort of battle going on, which I think is going to get harder and harder as VR improves it's only going to get harder for our brains to decipher what's real and what isn't. Really good, fantastic. Really good sense of height here. There's a nice little church there. Let's fly between the buildings again. But, as I said, well, you can see our computer there with our little flight path that we're totally ignoring. Absolutely fantastic. So what, as I say at the beginning, what I'd recommend is keep this on your radar and watch out for it, because VR support at the moment is very early, it's very beta. Asynchronous time walk doesn't work, it doesn't work properly on the Vive yet. Well, we're going to fly into that building, but as soon as it does, if you like flying games and flight simulators, this is going to be one you want to pick up. If VR is not the most important thing to you, or you're planning on playing on a screen, then as it is now on a screen, if your priorities in the flight dynamics and doing a bit of tourism around the coast of America or through the Switzerland DLC, again, probably worth picking up. I mean, I've spent a good 2 hours on this, as I say, just flying around looking at the scenery on the monitor. Oh no! Oh, that was a little bit close. But there you go. Let's fly through the arches of this bridge. The collision, as we said in the previous video, really good in that if there's a gap there, you can fly through it. So we're going to do that with this Cessna. Get through here. Turning circle this Cessna, not too great work. This is going to be a bit tight. Okay, we didn't make it. We died. That's it. Gamma Muscle has died. We crashed into the bridge, and unfortunately the bridge is now closed, and the whole of San Francisco has to be shut down to recover my rotting corpse from the bottom of the ocean. But I think that gives you a little introduction. We're going to do some more videos. Hopefully they update and patch the VR more in the future, get the asynchronous time working, and get it working properly on the HTC VIVE. I don't know how long that'll be, but we'll keep you posted. As soon as they do more updates, we will cover them, because it's just really good fun flying in this. Far more fun for me than the basic flying in either X-Plane 10 or Microsoft Flight Simulator. So until our next video, don't forget to click the subscribe button. Don't forget to like us. Drop us any questions in the comments if you want to know anything about the sim, or if you just want us to check something out. And we will be back very soon indeed. Goodbye.